Hey, yo, what is good, y'all? Malcolm McFadden, the creator of 615 Comics, and you're watching Creator Chaos on Yo a Nerd. And I got a special guest with me today. I have actually read a lot of his work, including what he has on his shirt, Worlds Away. He's read Try Not to Die. And today we have Damien Becton with us today. How y'all doing? How you doing, bro?
Appreciate you having me on. I'm good. Thank you for having me on, big dog. I'm a fan of your work as well. I mean, I backed Thema and a few of
Hey.
your other books too. So yeah, I'm a fan of yours as well, my friend.
Hey, that's what's good. That's what's good, bro. I'm definitely glad to have you on the show and finally get to talk to you because, like I said, I am a fan. And you also have a Kickstarter going right now that I backed, and it looks dope. So I really wanted to chop it up and see how you were doing with all of that.
Yeah, I got the Ruth Avenue Raiders. We got a few more days. I think as of right now, we got like 60 or 61 hours, and we got a few dollars to make.
Hmm.
But I'm really the book is gonna happen regardless of what the numbers say. The book is absolutely going to happen. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I love the Ruth Avenue Raiders. I love how it's turning out.
Yeah, this looks dope. So how are you doing with like the promoting of everything and going through? I know Kickstarters can be a headache. So how are
No,
you going through with all that?
I promise you. I went to Heroes Con. I was at Heroes Con, and everyone there. I don't know if you've ever been to Heroes Con. If any of y'all been to Heroes Con, it's a great show, Comic Con in Charlotte, North Carolina. But a lot of the creators there, indie creators, just like us, Malcolm. Like it's a bunch of people just making dope stuff, putting it on Kickstarter. But I had several conversations about how Kickstarters ain't kicking as much as they used to.
Right.
But that's a part of it, I'm guilty of it. But back in 2022, I had a great run, two or three Kickstarters in a row, back to back to back to back. And then I don't know what happened, but the algorithm changed and I had to adjust. So I'm adjusted now. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's tough, but it's fun. Being able to talk about all the dope stuff that everyone's creating.
Yeah, it's a Kickstarter. I think it has kind of changed like reaching out to people and all that. So it's definitely different. So it's weird trying to figure that out too, because you gotta figure out the algorithm of social media, then you
Yeah.
gotta figure out the algorithm of Kickstarter.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's a crazy battle.
Oh yeah. It's. I mean, and there's people that they eat, sleep, drink, breathe it, and they're good at it. And there. I mean, like I wish I could get to that level. And it's fun to see everything that everyone's creating. But it can be frustrating at times. But like I said, at the end of the day, when I'm talking about a book that I'm creating, it's really fun regardless. Because I think how this book is turning out. Shout out to Marina, who's the artist on here. She's
Mhm.
doing a great job. And and this is like my favorite part of making comics. Whenever you see a page come in, and you go,
Right.
dog. But shout out to Marina because all like she takes my script and she makes it even better.
Yeah, that's like the perfect feeling, just seeing what you had thought of and then have
Yep.
it come to life and it be better than what you actually thought of.
Uh-huh.
Like that is always great.
It's a great feeling. It's hard to describe too, because comic books are such a niche thing. It's such a very
Mhm.
specific thing. Because there's a lot of people who like comic books, but there's not many people who create comic books. So when that,
True.
when that stuff comes in, the art comes in, and it's everything and more that than you thought of. It's like you said, it's just dope, and it's it's fun. It's a fun feeling.
Yeah. And I bet with this new project, the Avenue Raiders, I know because looking at the pages here, I'm gonna share because you shared a lot of pages on the Kickstarter. So I'm gonna share that with everybody so they can see. But these pages look dope, bro. So I was hyped when I saw it because I'm a fan of Recess. I'm a huge fan of Recess. So when I saw it, I was like, yo, this looks just like Recess.
Yeah. So you must have grew up. I'm 35 years old, Malcolm. You
Yeah,
must
I'm
have grew up.
33.
Oh, so we were a bunch of millennials. We grew up around. We watched the same cartoons growing up, but that those cartoons, late '90s, early 2000s, Hey Arnold, Recess, Proud Family, Dexter's Lab, all those things influence my life to this day. I got jokes in my head that's just been stuck in there since 1999. And this is kind of my Ruth Avenue Raiders kind of love letter to all those because those cartoons did have such a huge impact on it. And you can see it in the art when I posted something on Reddit. I was like looking for an artist, and when Marina reached out to me, I was like, "Dog, you're perfect. You're perfect for
Right.
this." And then she turned it into this.
It looks just like, like a Saturday morning cartoons or something you would see on Tsunami or something like that. Like it is tough. Like it just looks. It really reminds me of Recess,
It
like
does.
especially
Yeah.
with like the group of kids.
That was like Recess specifically. Spinelli, well, all of them actually, because like Mikey's like there's
Yeah.
a character in mind. His name is Norman Shropshire. I told Marina, I said, make Norman Shropshire look exactly like Mikey. I just want him to look
Right.
like Mikey. That's the big blonde kid.
Right here,
But
this
that's it.
character right here.
Yep. But you're right. It's like that's exactly the feeling that I wanted. And there's a lot of comics, especially it's hard on Kickstarter as well.
Mhm.
When I did the Kickstarter, it was people were kind of warning me. They said, all ages graphic novels, they don't do too well on Kickstarter. And I was like, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine.
Right.
And I loved it so much, and I loved how it turned out so much. I was like, forget it, man. We're gonna try to get all these 90 pages in one Kickstarter. And like I said, Malcolm, it's gonna happen. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. If you're on the fence about it, if you're looking at it and you're not sure, I'm telling you, this book is going to happen regardless of what the numbers say. But yeah, I love making it. I love how Marina turns all these things into pages, and it's fun. It's really really fun.
It looks fun. So with this story, so I'm really interested to ask you this. So with this story, when you started writing this, like at the very early stages, was it meant to be like recess esque? Was it meant to be something like that, or was it something different? It kind of formed into that.
Yeah, it was. To answer your question, yes, absolutely, it was. One of the other things that was, I won't say one, some of the other things that influenced it as well is like Pixar movies. Like we just watched Toy Story this past weekend or yesterday actually, and one of the things like stories like Inside Out, stories like Soul. Soul is such a huge, like I love
Mhm.
Soul when it first came out during COVID on Christmas Day. Jamie Foxx turns into a whatever, and I wanted to make a story that everyone can kind of learn from, but it's kind of marketed for kids. But if an adult picks it up, you're like, oh, this, I get this. I see what they're trying to say. I
Right.
wanted to make it meaningful. I wanted to have some kind of lesson, some kind of thing, the themes that anyone could learn from.
So yeah, that is actually you saying that's crazy because I have these conversations with my friends all the time, like watching some of the newer cartoons and watching some of the cartoons when we was growing up.
Right.
Like it was for kids, but when you watch them as adults, you get some of the jokes that as a kid that you
Uh-huh.
didn't get. So it's like it still seems for adults too. And they used to do a great job of throwing little messages in there,
Mhm.
not like force feeding you the message, but kind of just placing it in there for you to get and for you
Yeah,
to kind of like find it.
absolutely. I don't know if you've ever watched. Well, I mean, you must have if you grew up if you grew up in the '90s like we. Like Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold had such like a I won't say adult themes, but mature, like
Hmm.
meaningful themes. I don't know, Mr. Wynn. Remember Mr. Wynn? He's one of the tenants in the apartment, and when he had his daughter, he had to move away, and then he finally met his daughter as an adult, and there was Chocolate Boy who was addicted to chocolate, and there was Pigeon Man. There's so many great things that, like you said, we didn't kind of catch as as kids, but when we come back to it as adults, it's like, oh, this has more meaning than we thought.
Right, right, exactly. So I feel like that's what this kind of story would like fall into, something like that. Um, Also with this story too, is this just so? Is you remember the one episode in Recess, right? The one episode in Recess where they had to play the other kids at the other school that were just like them.
Yes.
Is this kind of inspired by the episode?
Yeah, there's a few episodes,
Okay.
that one specifically, and there was a Hey Arnold episode where they played football. It was called the Mud Bowl. When Arnold and his gang, Arnold, Harold, uh, Helga, and all them, they played the fifth graders. They're in football, and they were just back and forth, and then they brought in the sixth grader, who the kid who's supposed to be in sixth grade, who's actually in fourth grade, to play for them. Torvald, I think his name was. But that episode specifically, when they met the kids for the other school, and then this episode from Hey Arnold, it was like a big old mashup of all that. And Dexter's Lab too. There's we got a kid named Jimmy Ramirez. He's the smartest kid on Ruth Avenue, and that's where the craziness ensues, because at the beginning it's kind of just like a normal football thing, but when you meet Jimmy, he kind of introduces the sci-fi elements, and that's where the robots come in.
Okay. So when with each of these characters that you were making, so like what was your idea of having each character? Like what did you want each one to, because you know, like in Recess or any of the or like I was just watching Weekenders,
Yeah,
like each person in the group has like their own personality that kind of
good.
adds to the story. So what was that some of your thinking for these characters, and how did you go about, putting the personalities together and picking the personalities that you picked?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I did it, well, I will say a lot of the characters, their personalities, at least, they were based on some of the. I'm in education. I work in education, so some of the characters, they're loosely based on some of the kids that I've taught throughout the years, or I've interacted with throughout the years, the past 10 or 12 years. But I wanted them to, one, they needed to be friends,
Mhm.
but they also needed to have personalities that kind of clash with each other. I don't,
Right.
just like any classroom, just like any team, like they're not going to agree with everything that everyone says. So their personalities had to, even though they're friends, or the best friends for the past 3 or 4 years, however long they've known each other, they had to have personalities that conflicted with each other, in a good way, to make the story interesting, to make the story funny. So that's why I thought of those different things. We have the toughest kid on Ruth Avenue. We have the strongest kid, the smartest kid, the fastest kid, the averagest kid. All these different things, and and all these things, like when they finally, because they're the best kids. Like everyone in the neighborhood, everyone in the city knows that the Ruth Avenue Raiders are the best team, best football team around. So when they actually start to lose, when they actually start to struggle on the field, that's when those personalities, that's when those conflicts start to come to a head. And that's what makes it funny. That's what makes it believable. That's what makes it human. That's what I tried to do, at least.
Hey, and I'm telling you, bro, it looks fire. Like it looks hilarious too. Like just looking at some of the pages and just the descriptions of the kids, it looks great, bro. Like this looks like you said it, like it was fun getting the pages back, but it just had to be a like constructing these pages and the ones that I see. Like I'll share it with this page right here. If I can get to the share joint. But I want to share this just to ask you about this. Like working with your artists on this page, like how did you guys go about constructing this page right here? Like this page showing like each kid and on the field.
Yeah. Shout out to Marina Ruiz, because when I wrote the script, all I did was, like, she's so good at it. All I did was, I gave her a link. I sent her a link. These are the Monday Night Football intros. I sent her a link to the funny football, Monday Night Football intros, And then I gave her, all right, this is Ronnie. She's cocky. She's the fastest kid. She knows she's untouchable. And then she's the fastest kid on Ruth Avenue. This is Kevin Head. He's the averagest kid. He's unassuming. He's this, and this. Ryan Beckham. She's the toughest kid. She's the best all around. She's just as strong as so and so. She's just as fast as so and so, but she's also the leader. And using that link and using just the descriptions, because I honestly, shout out to Marina, because I didn't give her any pointers on what the kids should be doing. Because as I started writing more, I kind of gave the artist like, hey, just do whatever, and then if we need to change it, we can change it. But she took that script and she turned it into this page. I didn't tell her anything about the football field. I didn't tell her anything about this or that, but she was able to turn it into such a great page. Honestly, I'm glad you showed that, Malcolm, because that's like my favorite 2 pages so far.
Yeah, I love it. And also, we got a question. You kind of touched on this, but we got a question. How did you decide on the art style you picked for the book?
Yeah. I had a few people reach out to me. I posted on Reddit, and I did say that I'm kind of looking for a specific style. It's for an all ages book. And then I gave them the description. This is inspired by Hey Arnold. This is inspired by Recess, Proud Family. This is inspired by Dexter's Lab. And a few people, they could have, I think they were good fits as well. But when I saw her work, and I noticed that, I said, dog, this is perfect. Because everything that she sent me, Marina, it looked exactly like a Saturday morning cartoon from the 90s. And I emailed her back, like it was like 2 or 3 days later. I was like crossing my fingers that I hope I didn't miss the boat. But I emailed her back as quickly as I could, and I was like, "Are you able to do this?" And then we chopped it up for a little bit, and she agreed, and she's having a lot of fun because she's sending me pages, even for pages that I didn't even pay for yet. She's like, she said she's sending me stuff I didn't even pay her yet.
That's dope. That has to be a good relationship to have with an artist, especially when the artist is kind of enthusiastic about the project as you are.
Yeah, and I've been lucky for the past 4 or 5 years to collaborate with people who are passionate about the stories that I wanted to tell. Shout out to Kenneth Laster from Try Not to Die. I met him last month, and he's dope too. I'm glad I met him.
Yeah. Also, for this story, it's not set on the Kickstarter. I wanted to ask, did you ever play backyard football or backyard basketball?
Yes, hey, I I promise you, that's another influence. I didn't put it on there because I thought it would have been too much. I thought it would have been, I'm already comparing it to Hey Arnold, Recess, this, and this. But that's another, like, dog. I sent her links to that too, like backyard football. I was telling her about a scene that's going to happen in the future when it's snowing. So I sent her a video of like one of the snow fields, the football field when it's snowing. I was like, this is how it should be, even though it's in a backyard, it's still a football field. And she used all of it. But yeah, backyard football, backyard baseball, there's another influence on it. Yes, I'm glad you caught that.
That is dope. That is dope. And you just mentioned Try Not to Die, which is one of your other stories.
Yeah.
And so with the stories I've read by you, I think the ones I name on top of my head, Remember, Worlds Away, Try Not to Die, and now this will be another story. All of those are different genres. Like none of those are alike. So how do you dabble into all these different genres?
Dog, you need to see my table. I promise you, when people come to my table at Heroes Con or when I'm at a con, they're like, "Huh, you're doing a lot of different stuff over here." Huh?
Right.
So I got to separate them because I have my kid stuff and my PG-13 on this side, and then because they are different. Shout out to Patrick Foreman.
Yep,
He
shout out to
said,
him. I met him at a con.
yeah,
He's actually really cool.
good dude. He hired me to write Remember, which is crazy. It's like a crime thriller, and this like the complete opposite of Ruth Avenue Raiders. And I had fun writing that. It's I shit you not. It's like nothing like it. But when I pick the stories that I want to tell, it sounds cliche and it might sound corny, but it's really I kind of don't go into a story thinking I want this story to be a certain way. It kind of just comes out that way, or I don't want it to be a certain genre. It just comes out that way. The stories that I do choose to go forward with to actually develop to reach out to an artist are ones that I'm really, really, really passionate about, or ones that I really, really believe in. So, I got I got notes in my phone with different story ideas. I probably got like 15 to 20 of them, titles with the general idea, but not like only like three or four of them are kind of fleshed out, ones that I'm really, 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 really passionate about. Um, the genres, I don't, like I said, I don't really choose a genre. It's just naturally come from the story I'm trying to tell or the themes that I'm trying to
Mm.
convey, or the artist as well. If I reach out to an artist, I would say like, this would be um, a dope artist for like a Lovecraftian horror kind of thing, or this would be a a dope artist for this supernatural thing that I'm trying to do. Um, so if I see that and then I match it with the story, that's the one that I'll try to develop or choose.
How does how does that like sharpen your writing skills, like doing these different genres?
It is challenging, especially with Ruth Avenue Raiders. That's you know, in my head when I make a joke, it's funny. But then when I put it down on paper or in the script, it's like, this doesn't quite work as well. But I think trying different genres, trying different things does sharpen your blade. It does get you better at it. Because I don't think anyone who creates, at least no one that I know, it's not a good or a bad thing, I don't think, but I don't think anyone wants to be pigeonholed into one kind of thing. Their genres might, that might be someone's um, bread and butter. That might be their comfort. That's what they do, and that's what they're great at. But I think it just with anything, just going out of your comfort zone can help you get better at whatever you're trying to do.
When you are doing these different stories, is there certain art that you consume or TV that you watch? Like when you're doing horror, do you try not to watch horror, or do you watch more horror, or do
Oh
you just
yeah.
kind of create?
No. I'm absolutely influenced by. You'll see it in all the stories that I write. When I did Worlds Away, I was very much into The Last of Us. I was playing The Last of Us or replaying The Last of Us. I was replaying God of War. And that's kind of the story that I wanted to tell when I did that. It kind of influenced Worlds Away itself, kind of like a mother daughter, parent child kind of relationship in this sci-fi action setting. When I did Try Not to Die, I remember talking when I did like shows like this. I would tell them, my dad had a huge influence on it because we used to watch a bunch of old horror movies when I was a kid. Children of the Corn, Child's Play, all these different things. So I am I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm very much a prisoner of the moment. When something influences me, dog, like I have a book, or I'm working on a book that's gonna come out after Ruth Avenue Raiders, and I've had it in the back of my mind for a long, 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 long time. Um, but when I read Ice Cream Man, when I read Assorted Crisis Events, and like the new Twilight Zone book, that kind of gave me the confidence to put this weird supernatural story out. And it's also influenced by Lupe Fiasco's album, The Food and Liquor. It's also
Hey.
and it's influenced by The Cool, all these
Okay.
things. And so seeing these things, like seeing these books, like Assorted Crisis Events, kind of gave me the confidence to work on this book. So it's different, but I'm very much influenced by other people's creations, and I think everyone is though. I think everyone,
Facts.
they'll see something and it'll be like it'll spark something in them.
So real quick, I gotta ask, what from the cool? It's without spoiling too much. What from the
Okay,
cool inspired this project?
okay. Not Ruth Avenue Raiders.
Yeah, yeah, not the one after
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah. So there's a couple different things, and Malcolm, I promise you, I'll be back on the show to talk about it.
You with it?
But it's I'll give you the title. It's called Generational Curse,
Okay.
and it's it's about in Lupe Fiasco's The Cool, and it started before that. It started in Food and Liquor,
Mm-hmm.
when there was a song called I forgot what it's called. But in The Cool, they have Michael Young History, and then they
Yeah.
have The Game, and then they have The Streets.
Streets. Yep.
So, and I've always wanted to kind of make a story that wasn't too on the nose, and it wasn't too explicit about um, the injustices in Black society in America. So, just to give you a kind of a preview, it's going to be the embodiment of greed, the embodiment of corruption, there's an entity called greed, and this entity literally it literally curses people to make them the worst versions of themselves. And these, and you'll see how this generational curse kind of affects Black people. I planned it out. There's going to be one issue. Every issue is going to be kind of a one shot, but every issue is also going to be like medium bending. So it's not just going to be a normal comic book. You'll see influences like, well, another preview. If you ever seen those old highlights magazines where they had the picture within a picture, you had to find the picture inside of the picture. I got to show it to you.
No, no, yeah, yeah. Show me that. I don't know what
Oh
you're talking about.
yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. But every issue is gonna be this weird kind of thing where uh, the reader is forced to literally interact with the book. So it's not just flip. It is flipping pages. You are reading, but I'm doing weird and cool things with it as well. It's gonna be medium bending.
Okay, that sounds dope. All right, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask one more question about this because I don't want you to spoil it too much. So with this character degree, like you know how in the cool like the game and the streets had
yep.
like he had this song where he like described what they look like. Are you going do you have something like that for the greed where like there's things to their character description that has to do with like greed or maybe has like money
Yeah.
for eyes or something like that?
Yeah, actually, another preview, another spoiler. You'll see Greed literally on page 2 or 3, and you'll see exactly what Greed's purpose in this universe is, and how it affects people, and how it how it affects people of color, and minorities, and it's weird. It sounds crazy. I know I'm not doing a good job of describing. It sounds crazy, but it's also going to be a book about hope. Black people, especially in this country, have for the past whatever 3 or 4 centuries they've been. We've been hunted. We've been treated bad, we've all these things. I wanted to shine a light on that, um, but I also wanted to give people hope because I don't want it to be, you know, I don't want it to everyone to just. I don't want Black people to feel bad about themselves, or I don't want
Mm.
to feel like they're never going to be able to get out of a situation. So it does have kind of mature, dark themes, but at the end of the day, we all here for each other, and there's things that we can do to help each other out, and there's always a glimmer of hope. But yeah, you'll see greed, and there's also another entity, the opposite. There's righteousness. So that we have greed, who corrupts people, and we have righteousness, who try to save people. And there are these warring entities that go back and forth, and they've been going at it for however long this universe has been around. And we see how that affects people and their lives.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Well,
gonna send you the pages I got so far, and
yeah, this sounds fire. This sounds fire.
just so I can show you because it sounds crazy. I'm telling you, it sounds crazy, but it's dope.
And I got another question for you. What's some of your favorite comic books of all time? Which I feel
Dope.
like with the genres you pick, you might have a crazy list.
Yeah, I kind of hinted at it. It came out this past year. If you haven't read Assorted Crisis Event, it's kind of the same thing. It's written by Dennis Camp, and what Dennis Camp does, it's every issue is a one shot. There's this one issue, I think it was Assorted Crisis Events number 5, um, and you can just pick it up and read it. You don't have to read number 1 through 4. But Assorted Crisis Events number 5, it's about a man who has dementia, and or you if you read it, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's one of the most beautiful, and it's only like 24 pages, dog, I'm telling you.
Mm.
But it's one of the most beautiful books that I've ever read. I gave it to my girlfriend. I don't know if she can hear me, but I gave it to my girlfriend, and she reads comics too, and I said, read this book and tell me what you think. And she reads way faster than I do. She read the book, she took the book, and like three minutes later, all I heard was, and I was like, I knew it. I knew it was gonna get you. But it's such a good book. That there's another one called The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, was a good one. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees is another. That's a horror comic. And I will say, shout out to Stephanie Williams. Roots of Madness was really good as well.
Mm. Yep, shout out Stephanie Williams. She is killing it right now.
Killing it, dog. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Killing it.
Killing it.
That
And
is.
she's just such a nice person too. She's just a nice person.
Facts, and that's good. When nice things happen to nice people for once in this world. But to go back, something you were saying earlier, that I thought was interesting. You said a lot like the stories you want to tell, right? And
Mhm.
so with you dabbling in different genres, when you think of a story you want to tell, how do you pick the genre that you want to go with that story?
Yeah. Like when I thought of Ruth Avenue Raiders, it's based on my dad. He had a team when he was growing up. He grew up on Ruth Avenue, and all the characters are named after his friends. But when I thought of it, I was like, yo, this sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon. Like, because he would tell me, when he told me the stories about him, he said, Damien, I used to have the best hands on Ruth Avenue, when he's talking about football. He said, and Kevin was the fastest kid on Ruth Avenue. So when I thought about that, I was like, dog, I'm gonna make a comic based on your kid. I mean, based on you and your friends. And then when I started thinking about it and started fleshing it out, I was like, this sounds like a Pixar movie, or it sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon. And then, but I never picked. It kind of turns out that way. And then as I develop it, as I start writing down ideas and start outlining it more, is when I start editing it and I start taking things away and stripping the things that I don't need or don't want. That's kind of how it turns into whatever genre it is.
Mm.
And for example, there's another story that I got in my head. I'll give you another preview. It's about it's about it's a Negro Boy Scout group in the 1930s and 1940s, but with military training and secret military training. And right now, I'm kind of on the fence. Do I want to make it a supernatural kind of thing, or do I want to make it just a historical? These kids, they get active. They're
Right.
they're in the woods, they're being hunted, or they're hunting something. So when I start to flesh that out more, I think that's what it's gonna that when I start developing the characters more, I think that's gonna inform the story of what kind of genre it's gonna be or what kind of elements I'm gonna play with. So there's different things, but there are some like Try Not to Die. When I thought of Try Not to Die, I knew that was just straight up, that's just
Oh
straight
yeah,
horror. That's just
had to be.
this, and this. But yeah, but when it's a more of a general idea, I kind of strip things. I kind of refine it until it turns into the story that I think can work. If that makes sense.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. So with stories like Remember, like because with Patrick like coming to you with the story idea, like how do you attack those where it's kind of like you're helping build this with somebody?
Yeah. Well, when I did Remember, um, Patrick kind of gave me the outline. He said, "This is what happens in the first thing. This is what happens in the second act, third act, fourth act." And then I flesh it out more. And then he would give me notes. He was like, "Let's change this. Let's change this. Let's change that." And that's how me and Patrick collaborated. When I did Calabasas for Black Box Comics, it was a little bit different. It was a lot different actually, because Patrick he had the whole idea. He knew exactly what the characters wanted to say, what the characters wanted to do. When I did Calabasas, which I describe as Black Widow in Hell for Black Box Comics, shout out to Demetrius. He said, Becton, this is the story. This is the idea. We have a character named Juniper. She is a soul in purgatory. She gets hired by an angel to to break a soul out of hell. And that's all Demetrius gave me. And then he said, "You can do whatever you want with it. I'll give you notes." So that's when I developed it and I outlined it and I said, "All right, what kind of character would be able to break a soul out of hell?" And I knew Demetrius was kind of trying to make his own superhero universe. So I made Juniper a mercenary kind of character. She's one of the best mercenaries that you can hire. And then she gets killed on a mission. And then from there, she meets different people in hell and in purgatory. So working with these different people, there's kind of different ways to do it, or that I've experienced because Demetrius and Black Box Comics, they told me you can do whatever you want. When I work with Patrick, and there's not, it's not good or bad either way. When I work with Patrick, which was fun as well, he said, this is what needs to happen. This is what needs to happen. This is what this character's like. This is what this character's like. And we made it work. But both, like, I love working with Patrick and with Black Box.
Okay. I got another question going into that, but I got a question from the audience. Comics are dope. Question for Damien. How long does it take you to bust a shot into your scalp?
Hey, Brandon. Hey, how long does it? Hey. You know, I get shout out to Brandon because that's the homie. He was at Heroes Con, but it don't take long, man. Hey, I promise you, y'all might as well go bald, dude. You're gonna save on haircuts because I don't pay $40 for a haircut.
Sure.
I just get my razor and I'll be done.
Hey, shout out to BJ Kicks. Check out his channel if you haven't already. Comics are dope. He does a great job on his channel.
Yeah, a good dude, man. Shout out to Brandon, man. That's the homie.
That's hilarious. But Dag, almost forgot the question I had for you going into that. So with the ones you obviously you'd like enjoy both of those, but which ones you see is more challenging? The ones where somebody just says, "Hey, this is kind of general idea," or more outline, which is more challenging for you?
I would say the hyper specific ones, but it was a good challenging, because
Mm,
working with Patrick, like I said, he knew what he wanted this character to be like. He knew what these characters wanted to say, and what my job was to turn these characters into believable people with
right.
their the things that they said, the dialogue, their interactions. How do we get from point A to point B and make this story make sense?
Mm,
Because Patrick, he did have certain things that he needed to happen. He said, all right, the first thing that happens is this scene, and then the second thing happens is this scene. But what I had to do was kind of make that flow in from scene one to scene two to scene three, and make these characters human and give them a little bit more, I guess, motivation. But it was fun. It was challenging because Patrick. He shout out to Patrick Foreman. That's the homie. Patrick Foreman will tell you. He told me. He said nope. Because I asked. I remember one time I emailed him. I said, "Hey," and shout out to Brian Hawkins as well, because he was editing with us. I said, "What if we change this? What if we make this character say?" And then I got an email like 20 minutes later. He said, "Nope, we got to do this." I was like, "Oh, sounds good." I said, "Say less, Patrick Foreman. We can make this work."
Yeah, because Patrick, I met him only once at BlurCon, but he seems like a very passionate dude, like very
Yeah,
passionate dude.
yeah.
Yeah, he was just
He's good dude. Good dude. He showed up to my table at Heroes Con on the Saturday, and he just dropped. He had a stack of Remembers, like hardcover. I didn't even know we had hardcovers of Remember.
oh,
Uh,
for real? I got
yeah,
some.
oh,
He gave me a real one of the exclusive covers, and
the black
it's
one with the red on it.
no, not that one, not that one. It's the one with it's like a holographic one. It's the one with the main character, the woman. She's on the front.
Mhm.
It's like orange. I want to say orange or something. It's
Yeah, I know what you're
holographic.
talking.
It's for fire cover. It is one of my favorite covers that I have in my
Yeah,
collection.
and shout out to Patrick because he'll do stuff like that just like out the kindness of his heart, just because he's a good dude. And I think he has a Kickstarter out right now, or he's at least, um, I think he's promoting it. Him and Jonathan Hedrick, who work for Black Box as well. They got one called The Contract.
Oh yeah, yeah. That hold on, that's on Kickstarter already.
I don't know if it's
He
if it's
told me about that joint. I was like, bro, I need that when that joint comes
yeah,
out.
I don't know if it's live, but I know it's on Kickstarter. It might be pre-launch right now, but
Okay.
yeah. So check that out because Jonathan's talented too. He worked on Dream. I forgot what it was called, but he worked on Black Box Comics as well. Dope dude.
Bet. Oh, also I got another question. Might seem like a basic question. What is your overall goal for Raiders book? And he also said, I guess message, not goal.
Yeah. So there's shout out to TN Comics. That's a great question. When I made the story, like I said, one of the things that influenced it are the Pixar movies, Inside Out and Soul specifically. But I wanted the characters to go through something to make a difficult decision, to change in some kind of way. So throughout the story, you'll see Ryan, who's the toughest kid, probably the cockiest kid. She's not used to losing. She's not used to struggling. Um, So hopefully, when kids or anyone who reads it, they'll see themselves in it, because Ryan, she's not used to change. She's very reluctant to change. She's a character who doesn't like change. She thinks the only way to do it is her way, or the only way she wants to do it is her way. Um, so, and I drew from personal experience. A lot of people are, even right now, like, I should apply for another assistant principal job, but I'm stuck. I'm not stuck. I'm just kind of like, hey, this is safe. This job that I'm in is safe. I know how to do it. I do it well. It's right down the road. But if I want to grow as a person, I got to be able to adjust. I got to be able to um, make the change, and I got to be able to do this, this, and this. And it's going to be a similar story for Ryan and the Ruth Avenue Raiders. If you guys are going to get better, then you guys have to be able to change. You got to be able to adjust. You got to change the game plan a little bit.
Okay. And so you also said this is it's for kids and adults. Are you which side do you want to reach more with this? More so on the kid side or more so on the adult side?
Yeah. I'm in education. I work in a middle school. An administrator at school, and a lot of the books that I create, because the kids know me. The kids know that I love comics. The kids know that I write comics. But a lot of times, the books that I make, I cannot give to them. So when I made this, a lot of it was for them, because I can't give my boy Cartier. I can't give my boy Cartier Try Not to Die. I can't give him Remember. But what I can give him, shout out to Cartier, good dude. He's going to seventh grade now. But what I can give these kids are the Ruth Avenue Raiders, and it's something that hopefully a lot of them can see themselves in.
Also, with that, I actually seen a post today. It was about, I think I forgot who said it. They basically said if you want to help kids learn to read, you should introduce more comics. And so that actually is something good to ask you about as a teacher, and actually giving your kids these books. Is that something you believe that should be more done more in schools?
Absolutely, dog. Like, comics are such an underutilized, at least in my opinion, underutilized resource for families, for parents, for educators. Um, and there's different types of comics. There are, manga. Manga is essentially comic books. They're Japanese or whatever comic books, and that has a huge audience. But reading comics is how, and creating comics is how, as a teacher, I got students really, really involved in what we were reading and what we were writing. Um, with if we could share, and this is why I'm such a huge comics advocate, because there's a lot of people who don't think comics are literature. I'll put it in quotes, are
Right.
literature. But I tell people all the time, I tell parents all the time, I'll be on the phone with them, like, and they'll ask me, like, yo, Mr. Becton, how can I get my kids to read? What are some strategies? There's two things that I tell them. The first thing is to read with your kids.
Mhm.
And then, if the second thing is find them something that they're interested in. And a lot of times it's comics. You know, uh, One of the things that kids have struggles with is, when they read something, and I do it as well, they'll just read it. They'll just read it without taking it in.
Mhm.
But when they read a comic book, they're able to imagine things more. It's right there for them. But the interactions there, it's in their head. It helps them create something in their mind, which is the missing piece in literacy a lot of times for kids, because they'll just read the words, but nothing is going on in their brain. But a lot of times, comics is that missing link that can get them from point A to point B.
Right, right, and I think one that's the easy way to like definitely get them to read. Like you said, as a kid, my mom always had me reading, but those added pictures of just seeing, and also the story being told through the pictures itself, it
Mm-hmm.
like that could also help with you comprehension and things like
Yep.
that. So I thought that was very interesting. I think that's kind of dope that I saw that today, and I was actually bringing that up to you because you're an educator.
Oh yeah.
But I also have another question for you. I like this one. This is one of the questions I was going to ask. Who is your favorite character in the Raider book? Just the name. I'm guessing when I get it, I'll figure out why.
Um, Dog, that's a great question. I like all of them. This book is really going to be, the main characters are going to be Ryan. They're all main characters, and they're all going to have their moment to shine. But the big two in this book are going to be Jimmy Ramirez, who's the smartest kid, and Ryan Beckham, who's the toughest kid. I think right now, my two favorite characters that I like writing are Jimmy Ramirez. I named him after one of my students. Shout out to Jimmy Ramirez, who's a senior now. Or he might be. I think he graduated this year. I had a student during COVID. His name is Jimmy Ramirez, and I named Jimmy Ramirez after him. Jimmy is smart. Jimmy knows the game plan. Jimmy knows how to, he knows how, he scouts people. He knows everything. He's not the fastest kid. He's not the toughest kid. He's okay. He's not very, physically he's not like everyone else, but he has the mind for it. But Jimmy is also very shy, which is what I was like growing up, and I really didn't come out of that shell until I started teaching, and I had to interact with kids and parents. So I really like writing Jimmy, who's the smartest kid. He has his own struggles because he's gonna tell Ryan, "Yo, Ryan, we need a different game plan if we're gonna beat these robots." But when Ryan says, "No, no, 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 Jimmy, hold on, we're still the Ruth Avenue Raiders." Jimmy, he struggles with standing up for himself. He's very soft spoken, and sometimes he lets people walk over him, and that's something that I had to deal with when I was growing up as well. So I like Jimmy, and I like Kevin Head. Kevin is the averagest kid on Ruth Avenue, and and he's just there. I like writing him because he's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Don't worry. But
He just going with everybody.
he's not. He's Kevin. That Kevin's just like, all right, yeah, we got it. Don't worry.
That's tough. That I like that. I like that. You didn't talk too much about the strongest kid.
Oh yeah, yeah. He Kevin. I like Kevin and Alan. They're twins. Um,
Oh, I see it.
but Kevin is the strongest kid, and Alan is just the averagest kid. So, and I have stories in mind if I'm lucky enough to make volume 2, volume 3, volume 4. How Kevin and Alan, even though they're twins, they kind of ended up physically very very different.
Right.
Um, but Alan is the strongest kid on Ruth Avenue, and he's tough. And we're gonna learn why he acts tough, why he's the strongest kid. And I had I had a student. He's going to ninth grade now. He's kind of inspired by a student that I had who just graduated. Well, he got promoted to ninth grade. His name is Xavier. Shout out to Xavier Doolin. He looks exactly like Xavier Doolin, who's going to ninth grade. And Xavier's a good kid. He's a tough kid, but he has a great heart.
That's what's up. And can you talk about the fastest kid?
The fastest. So Veronica. So all the characters are named after kids that my dad knew Growing up. So Veronica, I actually had to change Veronica's name. My dad's friend is Vincent Easter. But I needed a little bit more diversity, so I changed Vincent to Veronica. But Veronica and Ryan, they're very, very similar. Ryan is the toughest kid. Veronica is the fastest kid. And they're both very, very cocky. They're the best and they know it. They're untouchable and they know it. But when they start to struggle, that's where their differences start to creep out. So Ryan is going to be, she's Ryan's the toughest kid. She's going to be very, very reluctant to change. But even though Veronica is very similar, just as cocky, we're going to see Veronica kind of side with Jimmy a little bit. Jimmy, Veronica is going to be like, yeah, I know we're the tough. I know we're the best. I know we're the Raiders. But don't you think we should change things up? So Veronica and Ryan are going to butt heads a little bit, even though they are for years or for however long they've been playing with each other. They've always been very, very similar.
I like that.
And
What?
then, oh, go ahead.
No, no. What were you gonna say?
I was going to talk about the kindest kid, Norman Shropshire,
Let me
the
find it.
blonde
Yep, yep.
kid on the right.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the one that looks like Mikey. I told Marina,
Yes.
I said, make him look like Mikey because he's going to be very strong, but he's also going to be very nice. I also, I wanted Norman Shropshire, the kindest kid. He's a tight end. He's a lineman. He does it all. But I kind of modeled his personality after Tim Duncan. There's a video of Kevin Garnett talking about Tim Duncan, how Tim Duncan talks trash on the. So Norman Shropshire, he's the kindest kid, and when Norman talks trash, it's very encouraging. He's still very nice. He's Mikey. He's definitely Mikey from Recess. But when Norman talks trash to the other players he's playing against, he does it like Tim Duncan. He'll say stuff like "Good try," "Better,"
Right.
"Got you," or stuff like that. And he'll give his opponents pointers and hints or other things to help him out because he's just a good kid.
I like that. I like that. And one thing I really like about this, that I think is dope, is the fact that you said it's for all ages, for kids and adults, and the
Mhm.
problems they deal with are very kid kid problems, but like you said, these are some things that you also deal with as an adult, like with her not liking change or going through
Yeah,
adversity and have to get around that. Like
right.
these are things that actually adults have to deal with, and I like that it's all centered around like a kids game, like a kids
Yeah,
game against some robots. Like
yeah,
I feel like that's a great way. You did a great job of bringing the adult and kid side together in this book.
yeah. And that's what I tried to do. And I attribute that to some of the things that I grew up watching as well, because Toy Story had such an impact on me, because Soul had such an impact on me, Inside Out had such an impact on me,
Mm.
because they are able to tell these, you know, they're adult stories, but they're disguised as kids movies,
Right.
um, because like Soul, like I love Soul so much, and I watched it as I don't know, a 30-year-old. And the Jamie Foxx character, all he wanted to do was he's me right now. He's all he wants to do is play jazz. He wants to play jazz at the big club. He wants to he wants to be the most successful jazz player. But at the end of Soul, you kind of realize, life isn't just about this. It's about just being happy. It's about your passion isn't what you're meant to do. It's your spark. It's the thing that makes you happy. That how they were able to convey that to a 30-year-old at watching a kids movie. It meant a lot, because those are the kinds of stories that I want to tell.
And those are kind of stories that kind of live on, like because
Yeah,
you touch so many people with that story. Like kids, like you said, kids will watch it. The kids will watch it when they're kids, and when they grow up, and watch it as when they're 30, they can get that message still in that story, which is pretty dope.
yeah, and just like you said, when you go back as an adult, you'll catch on to things that you didn't see, or I know what they're saying now.
Yeah,
That's a cool feeling.
it is. It is. And so to bring it back to the Kickstarter, you have 3 days left on the Kickstarter.
Yep.
Um, So what are you gonna do next in these 3 days, like to push it and get it out there?
Yeah. What I've been doing is just reaching out to people. I'm trying to be as out there as I can. Like I said, this book, please don't feel like um, you're on the fence. Because this book is happening regardless of what the numbers look like. This book will be out December or January, um, either December 2026 or January 2027, February 2027 at the latest. So I'm just going to be as vocal as possible. I'm going to be reaching out to people. I'm going to go to my comic shop. I'm doing all these things, ask people to share it. But at the end of the day, when Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time comes, I know that that goal will be fulfilled.
That's what's up. I'm with that. Yes. So anybody, y'all should back this Kickstarter for the Roof Avenue Raiders. I put the link in the comments for anybody, and also in the description. The link for it is right there in the description. You can go to it and back this joint today. We have 3 days from when we're shooting this on June 22nd to back it, because I'm telling you, this joint looks dope, bro. This joint, hey, one of my this is one last question. I'm not going to ask you too many
Hey, you
questions.
good?
I'm not gonna keep you too long. But do you have plans to do anything kind of with this? Maybe like like gaming wise or animation wise, or just any like little things to do the
Yeah.
with this?
You know, when I shout out to Marina because a lot of it is how she's able to bring these characters to life. My goal, best case scenario, like if I'm really being ambitious, that's what it is. Like turns into Netflix show turns into like this $1 million IP. But I would love, dog. I'm telling you, I would love if this thing caught on and if it got published by a big publisher and people started reaching out, and then it started, and then I got book two, I got book three, book four, book five. It turns into this whole franchise, because I do have ideas for it, and I think there's so many different things that we can do with it. This time they're playing robots. Next time they're playing monsters. Next time they're playing ghosts. Next time they're
Mm.
playing aliens, or next time they're just playing the kids across the street. Then they're playing the Ruth Avenue Raiders from the '70s or whatever. Um, so I'd have plenty of ideas, and I'm hopeful that something can turn out, can turn into something. But that's best case scenario. At the end of the day, I'm passionate about it, and I'm going to make it anyway.
Hey, that's what I love to hear. That's dope. Hey, so I'm not gonna keep you too late. I'm gonna let you get on out of here, but I want to thank you for coming through and talking about this with me, and sharing like your stories and everything. Because I'm a fan of yours. Like you said, you're a fan of mine. I'm definitely been a fan of
Oh
yours
yeah,
and your stories.
appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah, no problem, bro. And I can't wait to read more of these. And everybody who's watching, please back this if you haven't, and tell your friends about it. Tell your friends about this story. All ages story looks dope, especially if you are from the '90s, like backyard football, recess. Hey Arnold, this is definitely a story for you.
Appreciate you, big dog. Thank y'all for having me on.
Yeah, but before you guys, is there anything else you want to promote? Let people know where to follow you. Anything else like that?
Yeah, I'm mostly active on Instagram. Becton at Becton on Instagram. I'm on Threads. Becton. I'm on Blue Sky. Damien.Becton. I forgot what the Threads thing. I mean the Blue Sky thing is. And DamienBecton.com. You can find my books. I'm working on Chopping Blades 3. I'm working on Generational Curse. I'm working on Worlds Away. I'm working on a five-year anniversary. Another sneak peek. Shout out to Malcolm. Another sneak
Hey,
peek. I'm doing. The plan is to do a 5-year anniversary hardback edition of Worlds Away with a backup, a new story
hey.
in the back, with a new cover, a different artist for the backup story, and then that'll move on to Worlds Away Volume 2.
Hey, that's dope. Hey, I like that. Hey,
Got
drop
big
some
dreams,
names real quick.
big dreams, big dog.
Hey, I like it. I like it. Hey, that's what's dope. You got to dream big. You got to dream big, bruh.
Absolutely.
That is fire. Worlds Away Volume 2 coming soon. I like that. Hey, hey. But once again, thank you, Damien, for coming on. And thank you, everybody that was watching, everybody that had questions. Thank y'all. And have a good night, y'all.